Suburban Sentinel out here once again on the American highways and byways with part 3 of our mini-series on road rage. And I will leave the links to the first 2 episodes in the comments section below. As promised, I wanted to give a couple of instructive and or humorous stories of road rage from the Sentinel's archives. My first experience with road rage happened when I was about 10 years old. I was in the car with my parents, and at the time they were probably in their early 30s. And we were in New York City, I think in Queens somewhere, and we were stopped at a traffic light. And all of a sudden, we were bumped from behind. It wasn't a big deal. It was a typical ding and dent type accident, just a bumper kiss. And my father pulled over onto the shoulder. He was very calm. There was no chance that anyone was really injured. And the offending vehicle pulled up behind us, and this guy gets out and he starts trotting over. And he's this older man, probably in his, let's say, early 60s, slightly built, short. So he comes over to the window. My father had the windows of the car open, and he's ranting and raving and all apoplectic, this guy, and screaming. He's basically lost his mind. I don't know what his problem was, but the guy was completely out of control. And my father, I don't think, got more than 2 or 3 words out, and the guy sticks his hands in the window of our car and starts grabbing at my father. Now this was kind of a crazy thing to do. We have this this older, slightly built guy grabbing at my dad, and my dad is 6'6", about 285-ish pounds, and this guy's going off. And my father is completely calm at this point. And then the guy starts swinging at my father through the window. And here I am in my 10-year-old self. I'm thinking, boy, this is really cool. This is going to be like a real-life episode of Batman. I'm going to watch my dad beat up this guy. But that was not to be. My father, being calm, cool, collected, and a consummate ball buster, did not even try to get out of the car. He grabs this guy's hand, pulls it into the window, basically all the way into the car, and rolls the window up on this guy's arm. So this guy's arm is trapped inside our car, and my father puts the car in gear and takes off. He's letting the car idle slowly down the shoulder of the roadway, and this guy is, of course, running to keep up. And my dad drives probably about 50 yards or so, and the guy's screaming, and my father stops the car and says something to the effect of, "Are you going to calm down? Are you done yet?" And the guy's still ranting and raving. Now he starts beating on the window with his other arm. So my dad, again, takes off down the shoulder of the roadway. Just a little bit faster this time, and the guy's running to keep up. And we probably go about another 50 yards. And my dad slows the car down, stops, and says, again, "Are you done being crazy yet?" And the guy's still ranting and beating on the window and all this craziness. So once again, we take off down the shoulder of the roadway. And the guy is losing his marbles. He's screaming at the top of his lungs, swearing, etc., etc. So my father then stops again and says, "Are you done being crazy yet?" And the guy starts not only beating on the side of the window, he's trying to kick the car. So my father had enough at that point. He takes off and the guy's running after the car, and we get up to speed, and my father opens the window and pushes his arm out, and I see the guy, I'm sitting in the back seat of course, and I see the guy fall and hit the pavement. My father just takes off. And that was the end of that. Kind of a bizarre situation, especially at that time in the 60s. Our society was at least apparently a little bit more civilized than it is now. So what can we learn from this incident, other than the fact that my dad was kind of a nutball? And that is, you have to be pretty much ready for anything. From 50,000 feet, this incident was a guy causes an accident, a minor accident, but then turns around and attacks the victim of the accident, who is twice his size and half his age. And crazy stuff like this, I imagine, happens all the time. So what I take away from that incident from many years ago is be ready for anything out there. Well, I'm at my destination, so I'll continue on with the second story in a few minutes. Okay, back on the road with the second story. Fast forward about 20 years or so, and one morning I am sitting at a traffic light somewhere in New England here, waiting to get onto the highway. And it had snowed the night before, and it was still snowing lightly. The roads were of course passable, but not in great condition. And a car pulls up next to me, and the car is virtually covered in snow and ice. Apparently the driver of this car was either in too much of a hurry or too lazy to clean his car off completely. He had chipped away enough ice from the windshield to barely see out the front. The clear section of the windscreen was about the size of a number 10 envelope, so about 9 by 3 inches. And the rest of the car was completely covered. When I saw this, I immediately got pretty angry because, of course, this was a very dangerous situation. Basically, the guy had no more than 45 or 50 degrees of visibility from the front seat of his car. And I was pissed. So what I did is I jumped way ahead of him. I took off pretty quickly, at least pretty quickly for conditions, and got ahead of him. I didn't want to be anywhere near this joker. And that turned out to be a bad move. In hindsight, I should have let him go and kept him in sight, hoping that he got off the highway and went somewhere else to have his accident. But anyway, I shoot ahead of him, and I'm on the interstate, and I'm headed towards a different highway. And all of a sudden, this guy in the snow-covered car blows by me at probably a good 60 or 65 miles an hour, which was way too fast for conditions. Now at that point, I am trying to change highways. For all you nutmeggers out there, I was westbound on I-84 trying to get onto Route 8 southbound. And that is a left exit off the highway, and in good conditions, it's a little hairy. In the snow and ice, it is downright treacherous. But anyway, this guy cut me off, and the only way I could avoid hitting him was to swerve to my right, which I did. Luckily, there was no other traffic near us, so when I swerved, I was able to avoid hitting him, but I missed my exit. Now I am a raving lunatic. I'm swearing, I have to drive down to the next exit and turn around and get back to the other highway. And my blood pressure spiked and I am going crazy. So a few minutes later, I get off the highway and I'm turning around and the traffic comes on the radio. And the traffic reporter says, be advised on Route 8 southbound, which was the highway I was going to, we have debris in the road. It looks like, and this is what they're saying, it looks like a truck carrying some scrap metal lost part of its cargo, and there were pieces of metal all over the highway. Stay to your extreme left. So I finally reach the other highway and I proceed, and I'm looking for this incident with the truck that lost its cargo, and I see it up ahead after a few miles. And what else do I see but the car with the snow-covered windows? So I slow way down to make sure I avoid all the debris, and as I'm passing by, I wanted to stop and just beat the hell out of this other guy who cut me off, but I see his car has not one, not two, but 3 flat tires. It was at that point that I had an epiphany that being road rage worthy was not the way to go. Just let the stupid idiots out there do what they're going to do and stay away from them. Don't engage them. Let the universe handle their punishment. That's what I took away from that incident with the guy with the snow-covered windows. And I've been living by that ever since. And knock on wood, I haven't had any major road rage incidents since. So, thanks for watching. This is the Suburban Sentinel. Please thumbs up and subscribe if you like what you see. Questions and enlightening comments are always welcome. If you have any road rage incidents you'd love to share, please feel free to do so with comments or video responses or whatever. Drive safely, everybody.